Welcome guys to another weekly Crazyhouse arena. It will be 3 hours of 5 plus 0. And I forgot my mouse at work today, so we will be playing with touchpads. So don't know if it will affect my play, but we'll see. First opponent is Andre Timer. Let's try this move, and if he blocks, maybe back. Right, he decides to go like this. And I played it like this because if bishop c4 immediately there, he could have played knight at b6 or knight at d6 maybe to harass it. Okay, but not most accurate opening play here. Let's go d4. g2 is covered and he can't attack this one, so it's alright for now. I can take that. I can also go g3. Let's take and go rook g1 or pawn at g3. That's what I'm thinking about now. Let's go rook g1, give g2 some more coverage. And maybe next I'll kick this knight a3, for example. And the knight has no useful squares. And he'll try to maybe get in on c2 here. This g2 square is fine for me, I think. Okay, now maybe at c2 as well as on f3. Pawn at f4 is a threat for him. So stuff I have to deal with. As well as pawn at d3. So let's go knight at f4. Dealing with the pawn at d3 at least. I can now just take that. But he has a good position here, that's for sure. Okay, pawn at g4. Didn't want to take it because then c2 was hanging. This knight is needed to cover here. Okay, now let's try the sacrifice. And then maybe take e4. It's not looking so good for me, but maybe takes g4 and allow take c2. Covering this one now. But well, knight takes c2 is an option for him now, of course. Let's go king d1. He can go knight d4, for example, or pawn at d3. Both very annoying moves. I think I'll take this one and just try to create something of an attack. but he is better here for sure. Couldn't find a way to defend, so I'm just trying to get some counter attack here, but he should be able to find a winning sequence here. Pawn to e2 for example, or just take the rook. He has opted for taking the rook. Alright, let's defend c2 a bit. King d2 is possible after pawn at c2 maybe. But it's all very shaky for me. Let's still go king d2. Otherwise knight at d4. Okay, bishop at f5, what is covering e6. Knight at b1 he maybe wants to play that. Okay, let's just try to create some sense of safety. But now bishop takes d3 is possible, maybe. Knight f1 is something to consider, rook at d1, all sorts of stuff happening. Okay, now I'll take. He'll probably just take the bishop. Okay, he goes like that first, rook at d1 maybe. Rook at d1, trade, and rook at d1 again. Seems very strong, or even queen e1. And now rook at h1 and okay, knight e2, rook at g1 as well. And now knight d4 back should mate me. Knight d4, king f4, queen takes g5. Well played. Okay. Let's go. Let's start the tournament from here. I've had a really rough patch in the Elite Crazyhouse last weekend, so I'm a bit low rated. So I'll try to get back to my level in this tournament. Okay, let's take that and go knight at f5 maybe, or just rook b8, stopping any bishop at b7 nonsense. Okay, he plays it like that. Queen d7 then, also useful in defending f7 later on. Bishop at e4, poking a bit at the queen, and maybe at g2 later on. He's sacrificing the queen. Alright, I don't know what to think of that. I'll just accept and see what he's planning. For now it seems fine for me. The queen is doing a good job of covering these squares. He has no knights to poke at me. So feeling pretty comfortable here. But now I'll try to take over the attack. I think knight at h3 now already. And take, and maybe pawn at g2. Or knight at f4 first. Because now I'm threatening queen at g1, as well as pawn at e2, that's annoying. There's still no real threat at my king. This queen is still very nicely placed. Yeah, alright, he misses this smothered mate. Which is a common theme in the Crazyhouse game. Put a queen or a rook on g1 and then mate on f2. Or f7 and g8. Okay, decided to leave the game. Let's see who's in. Not a lot of familiar faces for me just yet. Isak is one of the usual guys. We'll see how stacked the tournament will get. Just looking to get some good games in today. It's been a busy weekend, so taking the night off tonight from studies and stuff like that. Alright, rook boy. Let's go e6 again and knight c6. And if knight c3, bishop b4. Okay, goes knight f3, then we'll go d5. If e5, yes, knight ge7, and this knight can move to f5 or g6. Whoa, bit of trouble there with the touchpad. Depending on what he does, alright, he decides to take it. Okay. He could have also placed the knight on h5 first and then played bishop h5 or b5, but now this is a nice defensive move for me. If he decides to harass it, I can just take and go knight takes d4 maybe. And this bishop is very useful in these structures, because you'll have a hard time developing this one, or at least for the moment. For example, I have to go like this and maybe something like this to get this bishop on c8 working. Let's take with the pawn and then go bishop a6. I was thinking activate it like on that diagonal. Taking back the piece on g6 first. Could also take the rook on f1, of course, but then he could have taken my rook. And that was a favorable trade for white there. Alright, let's just pile up bishops here. So he's looking to get in on g6 or e6 maybe. So I'm just defending here. Take back with the bishop, and then knight at e4 will probably next. Maybe rook b8 is an option. Knight at h4, knight at g5 is also an option to pressure f3 even more. guess he wants me to trade. I think I'm fine with that, because then I can put the knight on h4, covering g6 as well as harassing the queen, so that's a nice free move actually. Knight at e4, harassing the queen even further, and almost trapping the queen or making the queen move to the queen side again, and then I'll have more attackers, and then maybe I can go bishop g5 to try to win this piece. And if the queen moves to e3, d3, I might even harass it some more. Okay, he goes to e3. Now I'm threatening to take f4 and then go knight at e2, and then forking the queen and the king like this. So he might needs to go bishop at h2 or bishop at g3. And then I might take on g2. Okay, I think he missed the idea of bishop takes f4 and knight at e2. Or he's just thinking about bishop takes f8 maybe. But there is no mate for white there, because the queen is doing a good job defending g7 here. So I'm just winning the queen here. And now there are knight f3 is a checkmate threat. Knight f3 as well. Okay, let's go pretty. If he takes, queen at g2 is mate. And if he doesn't take, queen at h2 is mate. But let's checkmate with two knights. He has to take this, and then knight at g3 is mate. That's a pretty sight, I would say. And it's also a nice theme to remember. If you don't have any heavy pieces, that sometimes you can checkmate by taking the pawn on f2 with the knight and then putting a knight on g3. Alright, Isak off to a good start. That's good for him. Let's see if we can catch him. Okay, going for the usual stuff. Bishop g5 probably. Okay, he goes for bishop takes h3, then I'll just move back and take like this. And this is a good strong fortress to guard the king. No entry points, f4, g4, h4 covered, h3 as well. So I really don't mind that sacrifice by him. And now I'll try to win the piece back. Maybe put more pressure on the dark squares. Alright, let's go pawn at f6. Could have taken d6 as well, but this way I force the king up, or I force material gain. If he took with the knight, then I could have taken back, and then queen takes f6, knight at h5 was very strong for white. And now his king is out in the open. This can't be good for black. Thinking about f4. I think I'll go f4. Because now queen g4 is a huge threat. Queen g4 is made in a few moves. He has to block or move away, and then queen takes g5 is mate. So I'm threatening mate in 2 now. And maybe a way to cover that is h5. Yeah, okay, he tries it. Okay, let's go knight takes d5. And if he takes, I'll play f5. So, and that it seems like mate afterwards, so I don't think he can take back. And f5 is still a threat, because then I can go knight f4 next. The main idea is that if he takes, I have queen takes h5 again and bishop at g4. Checkmate. And if he takes and doesn't block but goes to e6, bishop at f5 is made. And in this case I have bishop at g7, queen takes h5, and pawn at g6. So that was a nice decision there, not taking the bishop on d6, but keeping the attack going. And he should have gave back the material there anyway, but he decided to walk out in the open. And in normal chess that's already a bad idea, but in Crazyhouse that's usually a very hard to defend then, because a few trades are made and then you're already in a checkmating net, as you saw in this game. Alright, 11 points. Apart from the first game, playing okay, I'd say, so far. And let's see who we have. Isaac Andre has won his game as well. 62 players already in the tournament. That's good. Don't know why it's taking so long for a match to start now. Even with 64 players, probably there are a few not playing. But I guess... Okay, well, I thought maybe I was playing a much lower player in the tournament rank, that Lichess was finding someone there for me, but in the end it was the number 2 seed, or number 2 ranked. I have no idea how the pairing system works. Okay, and in all that I forgot to berserk, but that's not necessary, of course, every game. So I'll just have a slightly slower game now against Cafune. Okay, goes knight f6, I'll castle, and maybe go rook e1, maybe go bishop g5, try to put pressure on f6. Yes, let's go bishop g5 first, maybe bishop at h4 after. Rook e1. Okay. Now it's kind of saying, please play rook e1, because now knight takes d5 is a threat. And afterwards I can maybe go bishop at g4 and bishop at g5. Or just keep attacking this pawn. f4 is also a possibility, because then these lines open up. Well, a lot of lines, but you get an idea of how I'm evaluating this position. Let's go f4. Okay, he decided to move back. Probably we see knight bd7 now. Then I'll go bishop at e5. Okay, knight at e4, slightly more aggressive. And a very reasonable move, because if I take f3 will become weak. So I won't take just yet. Okay, that's a free pawn on c7. And maybe pawn d6 next to make sure this knight moves out of the way. Okay, he decided to sacrifice. Maybe he wants to go knight e4 afterwards. But then I think I can just take it. And then this is on. And he would have really liked a knight in hand now for knight g4, for example. But it will be hard for him to get one without heavy material losses. Okay, looking at knight d6 to make sure he can't castle. Because that will be safe on f1, I think. So let's go knight d6 first, see what he wants to do. And if he sacks the queen, then I'll just try to defend. And if he doesn't, then I'll have to look for another move. Let's harass this knight. And the knight on d6 had also had the extra function of defending e4 another time. And now it's a bit about who is first in the attack. This queen is of course dangerous here, and pinning my queen to the defense on c2. But the only defender really is this knight on d7 for him. So he has to be very careful as well. Let's just go queen d2. Could also go queen e2 maybe, or f3. Yeah, that's queen d2. Cover the pawn. And then maybe f5, and this queen can also join the attack later. Because he only has pawns in hand here, so he can harass some of my pieces, but I can just move them to safety, I think. Again harassing my queen, and he may take c2, but now these two pieces are in the defense of my king. So now I can think about attacking again. Maybe knight takes f7. Yeah, let's go knight takes f7. If he takes, I have to watch out for knight at g4, of course. Forking like this. But I was thinking to go knight at h6 anyway, so now I'm also defending against this threat, and this queen may come to e6. I can move the king away as well. Okay, now I'll go f5. Allowing queen takes f5 with check, but then I can take, of course, with the knight. And the other purpose of the move is that I may have knight f4 in the future. Okay, so let's step out of the pin. Oh, so now knight f4 is possible. And it's not over yet, but it's very hard to defend with the king on g6 and just, well, practically no pieces around it. defending it. Just these two pawns are doing a good job, of course, but it will be hard to defend this. Let's go pawn at h5. I want to push the queen even further, or the king even further off the board. Okay, let's go knight f4 now. I'll allow him to take the rook, and then knight e6 is a mate in one thread here. Okay, he missed it. Maybe not the most objectively not the best way to finish that game, but I felt like going for it, because even if he took the knight on h6, I would have had a good attack there. But maybe there was a better way for Cafoon to defend there. Alright, let's berserk. Go knight f6 and maybe go b6. Okay, he goes g3. So now I'm sort of playing against my own opening. Let's go early h6 to give the bishop room, as well as not allowing bishop g5. Let's go bishop d6, offer a trade, and then I'll have a good center here. Let's just not take on f4 yet. Maybe he'll go queen d2 or trade anyway, and now I'll have the good center I wanted anyway. Fortifying this diagonal. Knight e4. Oh. And now I'm doing good on the light squares. And with some material trades I might be able to get in on f2 or something like that. Let's go for the queen sack. And knight at f4. And of course, objectively, it's a piece for a queen, so material-wise, this should be better for white. But practically, it's very hard, because once white puts the queen back on the board, I'll continually try to harass it again. So then you have to put a lot of defensive resources on the queen. Okay, maybe he'll trade bishops, and then I'll have another knight in hand. Maybe can go pawn at h2 then, and knight at g4. Attacking ideas. Also could go pawn at e3 maybe, stuff like that. Let's take with the bishop, because now pawn at h2 is really strong, I think. Okay, he plays f3 to prevent knight at g4, but that gives me the square e3 to work with. And next I want to go knight h5. Let's just go bishop e3, keep the g file closed, and then go pawn at f2. Because there is not not yet any attack. f6 is covered, e7 is covered, this bishop is covering f7. There are not really attacking ideas here for white. And next move, I'll probably win a rook, and then it should be over very soon, I think. Knight at g4. Looking at that. Could also just take the queen first. See where he wants to go. Okay, now knight at g4 is made. Can't move to g2. Has to take the bishop or go to h1, and rook at h2 was forced. Okay, so that was a nice game. Playing against my own opening there. So maybe you could try that to use that into your advantage when you're playing me. Hey Antic. Yeah, it's great. I'm having a good day. It was relatively quiet on at work today, and the weather is very nice as well in the Netherlands. A couple of last days, so it's going good. Hope you're doing well yourself. Okay, let's go knight f6, d5 maybe. If e5, knight e4, and then d5. Do I still want this? Could also go knight c5 or knight takes f2. But let's just go d5 and trade queens. And see how it works from there. Okay, he wants to go en passant. I think he had to attack my knight immediately, because now there is this trick of winning the bishop or the knight. And if he plays queen at d4 or queen at d5 forking, then I can go knight d6 back. And probably he will be able to win the piece back then with some pawn here or pawn here. But at least I'll have some initiative. Let's go knight d6. And if pawn here, then pawn e4 is my idea. Just try to harass the queen away from the file here, and or at least get a knight back for my troubles. He even goes pawn takes g2. Okay, I think that's very risky, because now queen at g2 threatens to take the rook. So he has to move the rook or go move the king. And now knight at h2 renews the threat of taking, as well as knight takes f3. Okay, he deals with it quite alright, I think. But let's just put more pressure here. Maybe this wasn't the best way to go, because now he is attacking my queen. Okay, let's give the rook then. Go bishop at c4 and knight at d4. And the knight is then also attacking here. And then the idea is then maybe to take a pawn and then put a pawn on e2. Okay, he's putting a pawn on e2 himself. But now bishop takes h3 surely. And he can't cover the knights except with king d2, but that's not a move you want to play, so probably we'll see knight e3 or knight d2. Oh, like this. But this is looking very good for me. Okay, he thinks he can take there. I don't think he can get away with this, but we'll see. Let's just trade queens first. If I put a queen on f1, he has to block with the rook or queen. Otherwise, I mate on e2. Can also just calmly take this one. Not allow any counterplay, and the bishop is also doing a good job of guarding this square. So if he wants to run like this, then I can cut him off here. So let's go for it now. He still has to block with rook. And now I can just take the rook. Could also play bishop b4. But I think taking the rook should be enough. He can take my knight, but then maybe knight at f1 or knight at b1. Yeah, knight at b1 is forced mate. If the king moves back, then rook at f1 is mate in a few moves. And if he moves up, this is mate as well. Bishop takes f4, f5. And even knight d2 was mate as well. Okay. Interesting game there by Isaac. Yeah, I have a quite okay record against him. Maybe you can use this one as an example, Jamarlo, to try to beat him. Yeah, just repeat. It should be easy. Life is so easy, just win. Don't lose. But if you lose, just then lose big and go tilt, like I went the last Elite Crazyhouse arena. Okay, let's see what he wants to do. Bishop d6, e7, or h5 are most common moves there. And now basically, if you go bishop f5, you are giving white a free move, and that move is h3. And you could argue if that move is good for white or not, but I usually think it's good. So if you go bishop g4, then just take on h3 or take on f3, or just go bishop f5 in the first place. Because now we already we have this position, but usually black is already castled here, for example. Okay, not taking back the piece, so I'll put in knight g4, harassing the queen. Queen moved back, so I'll take f7 and try to attack. If he takes g2, I can just take back, probably. Okay, now I'll take e4 because I like the idea of bishop at e6 and bishop at f5 if he moves to king to h7. Okay, now he's forced to give up the bishop. Let's go bishop f7 and maybe knight g6. Yeah, he's already resigning. I don't know if it's a forced mate, but I'm up some material as well as having the attack there. So, and that's not just about the bishop g4 f5 move, but the free move is really useful for me there. So it was hard already when he played bishop f5, allowing that fork on e5. And you can also take back with the g pawn there on f6, not allowing the knight takes d5 trick I played. But then knight at g7 is very strong. If you're still following that, knight at d7 forks the bishop and queen, bishop and king then. Okay, let's sack an early knight. Try to get the pawn center here. Let's just go bishop d6 and then e4 maybe. Pawn h3 as well. Okay, he goes like this. Let's go c5. Bit unusual. Normally you would play bishop d7 there, opponent b7, but felt like switching it up there. Let's go rook e1, so maybe I can go d4. If he takes d5, I'll be happy to trade a few pieces here. Knight at b4, if he takes here, I'll take here. And take on a1. He could play knight at h6, I can just take it and try to counterattack. Maybe knight at h6 is very strong. Yeah, it's not too common, Jamarlo. It's something I felt like trying. It's probably not as good as sacking the f6 or f3 knight. Okay, he went for this. I think I have to take. And if he takes, then I'll go rook at d1 first, so he has to use a blocker. And now, and also bishop takes g3 maybe a possibility. Even knight c2 now. Yeah, let's just go knight c2, because if rook at g7, I can just move to h7. Or h8, I mean, sorry. And pawn at g7, then rook takes e1 is mate. So what does he have to do here? He has to move his king or take this pawn to create a square. Or he has to cover the knight, and I think the only move to do that is bishop d2. And then the bishop is gone from the attack, so I'm feeling a bit safer then. And he's probably trying to figure it out the best way now. Okay, he's taking g7, but that's just mate in one. Or c8 he was. Okay. Don't know what I would have done there to defend that. It was very hard. Maybe bishop takes e4 and king g2, because then you're at least a bit safe. Okay, domino XX. Let's go e4 for a change. Okay, let's go for a quick d4. Okay, let's see if what he wants to do. Okay, knight takes e5, then let's trade queens first and then go bishop takes f7. If the other way around, then he could have taken with the rook, and that seemed better for him. Okay, let's just move back, renewing the threat of queen at f7, and then pawn at h6. Trying to get in on the dark squares now that he's blocked the light squares. Let's see. Pawn at h6. Yeah, I think it should work. Queen takes g2. Let's just trade queens. Be super solid. Knight at f3 was a bit annoying. So I'll just go like this and play rook g1, get some safety. And an idea now is pawn at h6, knight at f7, and bishop h6 and queen at g7. That's what I'm probably playing next. Even better, I just spotted that move. Maybe knight at f5 is better. I missed that. Knight at f5 was very nice. Knight at f5, if he takes, then queen at f7 is mate in 1. Because the bishop covers h6. Yeah, knight at f5 should be the move. So he can't take because of mate in 1. And if he doesn't take, queen at g7 is very strong. Following up with pawn at f7. Okay, so rook g1 was a bit unnecessary there. But only after that I spotted the idea of knight f5. So it didn't really matter, because I don't think he had a way of defending it, but it would have been better, of course, if I spotted it right away. Alright, the cat poacher also on 100% winning. Well, I'm not even on 100%, I lost the first game. So looking forward to play him. Okay, PKR again. Let's go e5. Try to play some different openings. Let's go bishop g4, knight d5, and g5. And I know this is this is not a good line. There is a revolution against this, but it's very interesting play if white doesn't know exactly what he's doing. And I saw Jan Lee was trying this line against Master 10 in this match. Ah yes, I have pawn at e7, of course. That's a dumb oversight by me. How did it go for you, Jamarlo? Are you doing good in this ZH league? Okay, this is not how I should play this, I think. Let's cover up a bit. Knight takes g5 is a very strong move if he finds it. Yeah, he does. And now I'm just busted basically. So maybe I shouldn't go into such a line if I don't know what I'm doing. Ah, okay, that's nice, I guess. Alright, let's just see if he finds the checkmate. He should be able to win this one. But I'll try to keep on playing. Let's see if he converts this position. Okay, pawn at h7, rook at g8, probably mating threats. Is it though? Can just take with the rook and then again with the rook. But I can't take the queen, I think, because then mate on h7 will occur. Okay, so let's bring in another defender, knight e7. Keep the option open of dropping this knight anywhere. Okay, let's just sack now and see if he believes this bluff. Because probably knight at g6 is very strong here. Or even rook at g8. Yeah, rook at g8, okay. I'll take with this one. Alright, he's found it. Queen at e8, queen at d8, bishop at d7. Or the other way around. Or queen at f7. Well done, PKR. Okay. There we go. Strong play by him. And not I should not allow pawn at e7 there. But okay, 1 hour of play and almost on 40 points. That's fine, I think. That's a good average. Two more hours to go. Cat Poacher is on my tail. 89 players have joined so far. Alright, let's have a good second hour. Start off against Art, and some more. Anna Kendricks, okay. Okay, taking on f3, then our castle. Take c3 and go bishop at h4 and g5 to arrest this one. And black will try to pile up on f6 as well, yes. But now these knights are a bit immobile. Okay, e5. I'll just take this pawn then. And if black would have knight in hand now, knight takes d4, knight at e2 was very strong, but luckily for me he doesn't have a knight to work with. Let's just keep it that way for the time being. You could try very aggressive g5 to not lose directly a piece there, but don't think that's advisable. He went for pawn at g5 instead. Right, now let's put a knight on the board because pawn at e7 is very strong, as well as knight takes h6. A nice move there. Okay, pawn at e7 winning at least the rook and probably the queen. Because if the queen moves, then I think there is checkmate. Let's see how to do this. Let's just take this one first. And now take there with the queen, play rook at g8 first, then take the queen back with check, and then I have a new queen in hand to mate. Okay, quick recovery after the loss. Cat Poacher also lost the game, it seems. Cafoon rising up to the occasion. Okay, what to do? Let's go b3. Bishop e2 and e3. And knight f3. Thank you, okay. Okay, bit on unusual opening, allowing this one. But I'll sacrifice the bishop to get rid of it, then go pawn c2 or e2. Let's go c2, because then a knight on c2 won't be available to him later on. Let's go knight b5 first. Maybe rook g1 after. Bit unusual stuff for me, and now just trying to experiment a bit with openings and see what happens. Okay, I think that's a good move. Removing this defender from h2. Okay, so let's take this one, so that I get a piece in hand to work with. If he takes with the queen, knight at d5 is my idea. And this knight is of course threatening to take here. It didn't resolve the issue though of him taking on h2. He still can do that, of course. He can also take this knight, but then I can take on c7. Okay, let's take the bishop, because then next I can take on c7. And well, That's seems like a dangerous idea for him. Of course, I have to watch out for queen at e2. Mate in 1. So, oh, he's just resigning. King d7 was fine for him. I was already thinking, what's he do next? Probably I would have taken the piece here, but then he could have just taken g5 maybe. Knight takes e8. There was a lot of play left in the position. Queen at g1 even for him. I think black was even better there, but very strange resign. On the front page, yeah. I don't know how to get there. Maybe just keep streaming and get a bigger crowd for me. But last time when I was commenting on Jan Lee versus Upper Ways, and it was on the, I believe it was on the starting screen. But well, then I also had more viewers than I usually have. So yeah, it would be nice to be on the starting page, but I think you have to have a bigger crowd or something like that. Don't know how it works. Alright, very strange, just recovering from that resign in probably a 1 position for black. But okay, that happens. We've all been there probably. On over the board games even, I allowed a draw in this one game where I was totally winning. It's well, it's possible that you're just missing something. So maybe my opponent from last game missed this idea. Okay, knight takes d4, threatening to take here. He can counter maybe with knight at b5, but the problem is that I can take f3 with check, and then just defend c7. Okay, now I can take c2 with check, and I have to think about if I allow this, if it's just leading to mates. I have the sequence of queen c2 maybe, with queen c2 involved, so let's just try it. One of my ideas is to go rook at c1, and then queen, and then if he takes, then queen c2, and then take c1. If he takes the rook, of course. But if he doesn't take the rook, well, then I can just defend h8 or keep attacking. Let's go pawn d2. And rook at e5, just drop pieces on the board. Knight at d4 next. This rook is cutting away the defense of d4. And with a knight on d4, I can push the king back probably. Thanks for the subscription, okay. Glad to have your support. Oh, I missed that he played pawn at e4. Okay, knight at d4. Just moving on with the usual, with the plan. And if I don't see anything concrete, I can just put a pawn on g7, and that's fine as well. Yeah, let's just get safe. Yeah, I just totally missed. He blocked with the pawn on e4, explaining what I was trying to do there. No problem. I have plenty of time left to play this. Knight to g6, fortifying position. He can take the knight now, of course, but then I have bishop c5 and getting in on f2. And now I'm just trying to brute force my way in. Knight takes f2 next, maybe. Okay, then knight takes knight c2. Let's harass h2. Because apart from the rook on the h file, also my queen opened up to h2. Wait, rook h5. And maybe after this I can play pawn to g3. Okay, he steps away. Let's play pawn at g3 anyway. Let's see if he allows my queen in, and otherwise I can take f2. Okay, gotta up the tempo a bit. Maybe castle. Just quick moves is necessary here. Okay, I'll attack the rook. That's fine. Take with the knight actually. Ah no, let's take with the queen. That's better, I think. Because then queen takes g3 is threatened as well. Okay, let's take this one. Put the bishop on e3. It's not so easy actually to get in here, but he's doing a good job defending, and I'm also down on the clock, so not allowing myself to think about my moves and just moving instantly. And that's a queen because of the pre-move. But I'm on touchpad, so it's hard to pre-move myself. Let's pre-move knight b4. Okay, take this one. Let's run. Okay, I'm safe here. And I win on the clock. Okay. It's hard to play fast on touchpad. Kudos for players that are just never playing with a mouse. Or maybe you can get some sort of skill with the touchpad as well, but I found it hard to play faster. Yeah, he defended it really nicely in the end. I thought he was just winning or winning. I thought I was just winning easily, but he defended pretty good. And my threats were not as good as I thought they would be. But then I was happy to get. I was under 20 seconds, I think, and he had like 2 minutes left, but I still managed to not blunder. that big that he would take the game. Right. Let's see when will we begin. Okay, nasty turtle. 1, 2, 3. Let's see how he opens. Okay, d4. Let's go knight f6. And let's play the b6 system. Haven't played it yet today. Okay, he's going for f3. I think that's a reasonable choice, because now this pawn gives my bishop less scope. But okay, switching it up because he went like that with d5. And now just trying to take over control of the center. If he goes knight e5, I think I'll go queen b5. Okay, interesting already. How to take this one, or just take b2. Let's take b2. If he takes e6, I'll take back probably, or I'll even take the rook and be very greedy. Problem is that he has pawn at d7 as well, so if I take the rook first. So let's take the pawn. Pawn d7 was a bit annoying, because then maybe knight takes f7 afterwards. So therefore I take this pawn first, and if now pawn at f7, I'll just move to d8. Okay, I can take d4, and then pawn at e3 probably will happen. Then I'll just move back somewhere. But that does give him quick development. Can also play knight d5, try to arrest the bishop. Yeah, let's go knight d5. And I went knight d5 because knight d5 as well covers e3. So if he arrests my queen, then I can take on d4, and then pawn at e3 no longer works. Okay, he goes bishop at g5. Good move, threatening mate in 1 actually. So I have to cover this. Pawn at f7 or pawn at d7 was mate in 1. If I played some move like queen takes d4, for example. Let's go to e7, not allowing knight f7 check. Winning the rook on h8, possibly. Okay, let's just move all the pieces to safety. Because this is looking very scary, but he has no knight for g6 or knight at c8, all not possible. And I'm starting to threaten queen takes d4 and pawn at f2. Really trying to make use of this early f3 move. And the knight still being on g1, so no castling possible yet. Okay, knight e2. Now he's, well, not threatening to castle is a bit weird to say, but he could castle next move. So I'll take e2, because if he takes with the queen, then the rook on a1 is hanging. So yes, now he can't castle anymore. Let's take this bishop. Knight at f4 is possible now, or knight f4. But I think knight at f4 is better, because then this knight is still covering e3, which makes queen takes d4 possible. Okay, let's go queen e3. And now let's go bishop c5. Because he could have put a pawn here and then he moved away, but bishop at c5 threatens queen f2. Let's see how to do this. Let's not waste too many seconds thinking about it and just move quickly. Now I can take the queen next, and that should be enough. Okay. Nearly had me on the clock there, but he could have queened there, so therefore I pre-moved rook d8. Okay, that was quite a nice game against the early f3. And that's always, if normally I would have played that like e6, d6, knight b7 stuff, but then he would just develop himself and have a nice center with f3, so that the bishop on b7 isn't doing much. So realizing that, I decided to go for a quick d5. And some complications there, but at least the bishop on b7 was useful in that game. So if your opponent tries to play something you're not familiar with, just try to realize why he does it. And that's easier said than done, of course, but I think it's a nice way to decide whether you will take a quick think in a position or just make a move. This feels like he knows what he's doing. Queen e1, I think. Let's go bishop at a4. I want to trade this knight for knight at h5. I didn't want to trade on d5 or e4, I mean, because then if I take back, he has bishop at d5 taking f3, and then he has knight takes f4, d4, threatening the queen on f3. So therefore I went like this. Now I'm threatening to take g7, and if he moves rook g8, then I'll probably will take here, because then I have this threat of taking on h7. Okay, he decides to take my piece first. Oh. But now I've managed to create a weakness in his position. Maybe I'll go f4 afterwards, trying to open up the g file. Yeah, let's just go f4, as well as vacating this diagonal for the queen. I'll take this and go queen h4 if he takes the knight. Threatening to take g6, g4, maybe bishop at f6. Yeah, bishop at f6 seems very good. Because if he takes twice, then we'll have a queen trade, and if he doesn't take, there maybe his bishop takes g6. If he went to g8, there as well, bishop takes g6. And now I can take the rook, but then maybe I'll be... that's a slip. That's a very nasty slip. I meant knight at g5. And he should have played knight at e2. Probably winning. But okay, he moved very quickly there, take f5. And now this is made into... Got lucky there, I think, after the mouse slip. Maybe he had an attack there with some bishop at e3, knight at e2. Maybe I was able to defend it, but he moved too quickly there, I think. All right. But still, apart from the mouse slip, it was a nice attack there. let's go e6. Knight. Whoa! Again, the the touchpad not doing what I want. Let's see, how do I want to play this? If bishop e7, then e5 is very strong. But okay, I can allow it, I think. Let's allow e5 and go rook g8. And try to make him take. Okay, now knight at e4, surely. He can still take and put a pawn here and try to force some trades. Let's go rook g7. Seems sensible. And now rook g6. Okay. He has a bind on me. Can try to take the bishop maybe and then put the bishop on f4. It's very risky though. And it's actually not achieving that much at all. So let's just put a bishop on b2 and try to get some counterplay. But he's making very good use of this c6 slip. Okay, this is a good move. I'll take the rook. He has some knight at g7 idea and knight e5 maybe. But I think I have to move to f8. Then he can take knight takes e6 with check, so I have to move to d7. If I move to f8, there was knight takes e6 with check, and then pawn to e6, e7 for king, king, and queen. And now I'll lose the rook, or maybe even he takes f7. Okay, he takes the rook first. That gives me the option of taking here. And maybe try to develop these pieces on the queen side. I'll just take that. So he can't do much with the rook. He can put it on e7, but then I can block with bishop c8, for example. He can of course fork me there. That is something I missed. And queen at c5 is very strong. He's finding the good moves. He's playing this very well. Oh, he's even sacrificing the queen there. Wow. Ah yes, he has mate even. Pawn here, 98. He misses it. He still has mate, but I'm just losing on time anyway. Yeah, okay, too slow there. And he was too strong this game. Well played. Okay, and I'm still in contention with Cat Poacher here. Still haven't played him, but he's on a streak and I'm not on a streak, so we could have maybe him leading after a few games. Okay, very nice. Let's switch back to a bit more regular stuff. Try to regain some momentum, and then maybe I'll try to play some unusual stuff again. Moved a bit too quick here because he could have played knight takes d4, but okay, I guess it's fine. Queen h5, usually this check doesn't do much, but now he has to block with a knight instead of a bishop or pawn, and I think that's useful. Let's put a pawn here, not allowing knight at f6. And then maybe knight at f4, f3 as well. As long as you can't harass my queen, I should be fine here. Sorry about that. Okay, should be fine now. Yeah, and this is f takes e4. Yeah, that's hard to deal with. Okay, he goes like this. Maybe rook takes f5 seems like an idea. Can also try to get in on h6 maybe, or pawn here. It's all very interesting stuff. Knight at f4 as well. Okay, I went for knight at f4 because now I can take on e6 maybe, and then if he takes back, queen takes f5 is checkmate. Okay, he decides to move away, and now of course the knight can move, so I have to watch out for this. But on the other hand, he has to watch out for a knight takes d8 and pawn at f7. Okay. He deals with it creatively. Let's take here. And now I'm still threatening the queen. Okay, let's go knight h6 because I spotted something. If he takes with the rook, then I can take the queen. And if he takes with the pawn, I can take the rook. And if he takes with the bishop, then rook at f8 is checkmate. And now I'm threatening queen g7 checkmate, rook at f8 checkmate. So probably he has to sacrifice a lot of material to get out of this. And actually I don't think it's possible even to get out of this threat. And that's an unusual move, knight at h6, but once you see it, it's very logical, but it's hard to spot. But I think, like, well, okay, how can I get in on? How can I get a mate? What is the how how should the final position look like, and then I think, okay, what is defending that? Alright, this bishop and rook are defending f8, and I want to put a rook on f8 to mate, so how do I get rid of those defenders? Combined with the threat of taking the queen, so it is forced for him to do something about it. He could have just gone rook takes h6, but then I would have won material. It's very nice is thinking about a way, but I don't think rook at g7, rook at f8 is stoppable. And there are no chances here with dropping pieces. He, for example, bishop at g1 would have continued the game, but he doesn't have the opportunity to put a bishop there. Okay, let's go rook at g7, queen takes. Okay, Soul power again. Let's go knight of 6, d5. That's okay, he decides to trade. Where do you want to put the queen? That's always the big decision here. Let's put it on a5. Okay, knight c4. Then go back to d5, and if he goes knight e3 again, I'll find another square. Let's go to e6. And now block on d5, and okay. Start the game. And this queen is a bit unusual, placed on e6, but it's blocking the bishop, but then again it's also pinning this knight, so okay, he decides to attack it. That's of course okay, but this pawn could get weak in the future if I can put a pawn on f4, for example. Normally bishop b5 is fine in these kinds of position, but now with the knight on e3, the bishop was exposed to this check. Let's put the bishop on g4. Okay, very aggressive here. But I guess he can try it. Let's try a cheeky attempt. If he takes with a piece, I want to go knight at g2, and otherwise I made him move his king. And now he can't castle anymore, and his king is in the middle of the board. Knight at e4, maybe take c3. Yeah, let's take c3. That seems fine. Can take the queen afterwards. Can also go bishop at a3 maybe. It's looking nice for black here. Okay, that seems like a wise decision. Okay, let's just attack b2. If he takes, I'll take b2, and I'll take a1. And of course he can't take the bishop because this is just mate in one threat he has to deal with. Okay, that's can take a1. Can also, yeah, let's spin the queen. He can't save a1, I think, because if he moves the rook I can take here, and then queen b4 is mate. So tough spot for white here. Black is threatening all kinds of mates here. Queen at e2 at some stage. So hard to deal with this. Okay, he takes the queen. I'll take the blocker on c3 if he blocks. Okay, he sees that wasn't a good idea. Let's go pawn at d3 then. Okay, now I can take this one. And this should be over soon. Yeah, queen at h3 is mate. 3 queens on the board there in the end. That should be enough, I think. Alright, cat poacher lost there. Probably won't be too happy about that. And well, that gives me a good margin. But still 1 hour and 18 minutes to go in the tournament. And well, my play is not that good, but at least it's better than last weekend. Okay, winner Oleg. Let's go knight f3. Play my usual opening against him. Take this seriously. Okay, he decides to go for knight e7, then we'll probably see a quick f6 at some moment. And one of the ideas is to go bishop e3 here, then take on f5, take on d5. For example, if it he blocks the threat, but for example, if the king was still on g8, I could have taken on f5 and taken on d5, and then bishop at e6. So he probably saw that coming, or knows this, and dealt with it accordingly. So now I'll decide to go knight b5 and try to make use of the dark squares somehow. Because with f6 and the king on h8, the dark squares are a bit weakened around this king. And the light squares are very good, well covered. This knight is doing a good job. But if he plays something like bishop at g7, he should be fine. Of course, it's not like this attack is crushing. Let's put a bishop on f4 with the idea of taking d6 maybe. Okay, now I'll move back because I want to make use of this e5 square. Trying to trade the knights, to put a knight on h5, as well as removing a defender from e5, or if this knight takes back, this knight is moved away from these squares. But for now, winner Oleg is defending this very well, and is probably a bit better. But he has the open king and I don't, so that's always something to look out for. He decided to drop the knight on c4, which leaves these two knights available, but I think he missed this idea of knight h5, opening up the position. Now is the deal with his king. Okay, he moves to h8, that seems reasonable. And now I'll try to get in on the dark squares again. And another drawback from this c4 knight trade is that maybe we'll trade queens now, and I think the queen trade is in favor of me actually. Let's check first. Oh, I mean a knight, I think, or even pawn at g7. Yeah, because if I take the queen back, he can probably put a queen himself on g7, and now I make a few checks first, and then I'll take the queen, and I even think I can take the queen back with check here. Yeah, he has to move to the d file now, and then queen at d7. He could also have moved back to h8 maybe, but I don't know if it was forced that he moved to the d file, but maybe it was. But anyway, I decided to make his king position a bit more awkward before taking the queen back. Let's go e5 and bishop e7. I have to be careful, of course, against every opponent, but this guy just beat Cat Poacher, the number 2 in the tournament. Don't know how this line very well. Maybe it's bad for black. Problem is that white has a very easy attacking ID, so probably shouldn't have gone for this. You can just go pawn at h6, pawn at g6, stuff like that. And that's not a wise choice by me. Okay. That's good. Now I'll have some moves on the queen. And d6 maybe. He really should have gone for pawn at h6 earlier. Because when you sacrifice, you usually have to try to keep the initiative at your side. That's a good move actually. If I take the knight, he can take the queen. But I think that's okay. I can take with the knight actually. And now if pawn at h7, I can go rook g8, take, and then there's mating threats along the g file. There's also the idea of knight takes e4. And if the knight is on e4, then there's, with this king position, there is always an, imagine a knight here, and then knight at e2, and then the king moves, and then queen at g1, knight takes f2. Okay, so he does something about the check here. But now I'll try to get in on h3. If he takes, I put the bishop on g2. So I don't think pawn at e2 was the best there, but okay. He went for it. And now this should be over. Yeah, there we go. Queen at h1. Alright, 67 points. 1 hour and 10 minutes to go. Still in the tournament. So a lot of games to go. And we have Iron DF up next. Let's go knight f3, b3 this game. Switch it up. Knight bd2 and maybe go for an early e4. Okay, he goes d4. Let's go knight c4 then, and then maybe e4. So then I can take back with the knight if he captures en passant. Okay, he doesn't. Let's go like this. Could also have taken with the knight there, but then he could have put a knight on e5 maybe. Let's develop the bishop to h3. And let's see, let's just castle. As long as he doesn't have a knight for f4, I should be fine here. And even if he does get one, then it's okay as well, I think. Now maybe e5 will come. Okay, he blocks it. Let's see. Let's go a3, see what he wants to do. I don't want him to get knight f3, knight d4 in actually, so maybe I'll have to block that somehow by playing d4 myself. E5. Okay, let's go bishop g3, covering these two squares as well as threatening e5. Okay, now we can go e5. And maybe we'll see a trade here, and I'll try to take with the bishop first, not allowing him a knight. Oh, sorry about that. Knight at e4. And I think he maybe can go for knight d4, pawn d2 ideas at some moment, but I'm giving him too much trouble on the dark squares now around his own king, so he doesn't have time for this. He decides to go for it anyway. And sidestep, alright, that's interesting. Okay, I guess I'll go rook e1. And I can take here. Let's just cover g2, because I want to take on f6, but then queen takes, and then f3 was attacked twice, so therefore I went bishop g2. The bishop was a bit loose there. Okay, now it's possible. He could have gone knight at g5. Maybe that was stronger. Now I'm forking knight and queen. He can attack. He can get my knight as well, but I think this is fine for white. Okay, I'll just take here. If he takes with the queen, knight at h5 wins the queen, and if he takes with the king, then rook takes e6 is very strong, winning the queen with check, or if he went king e6, then not with check but with a devastating attack. Let's go bishop at g5. I want to go queen at g7 and blocking off his retreat. And then h4 is made. Okay, that was a nice game as well. he may have he should have played for knight d4 earlier probably. His my weakness was f3 e2 square, and he tried to get into it, but it was too late. Okay, let's just go bishop c5. Okay, let's get very aggressive here. Seems like he knows what he's doing. Oh, take here, pawn at g4. Try to open up the position. Try to open up the queen. And objectively this should be better for white, but practically his king is a bit more in the open than mine, so he has to deal with that, of course. Can take here, I think, and go knight at d4. Threatening to take the queen. He might trade once and then take on f6 with the queen, actually. And then I'll probably have to take back with my own queen. Okay, he goes for this move. Then I think I will have to go rook at g6. And the threat is now to take g5. And then knight f3. Okay, he deals with it properly. Let's go h6 then, and renew some trades here. It's not really a renewal of the threat because queen takes g5 wasn't forced, but he falls for it anyway. I think he had to go pawn at g6 there, try to get in on f7. Seems strong. And now this knight is as well covering f7, so pawn g6 is losing a bit of strength even as a move. Let's go bishop at h5, preparing bishop at f3. Okay, let's just ignore this and go bishop at f3 anyway, because these two pieces are doing a good job of defending here at the back there. I think I can get away with this one. I'll just take with the rook on f7 if he takes. And now I'm threatening to take here, as well as the rook. But f2 being the bigger threat because it's with check, and actually mate in 2 or 3. Okay, let's take with the rook. Okay, bishop g3. Let's go knight g4. That's threatening mate with queen at queen here, or a knight at f2. And he can take the rook, but then his attack is dead, I think. That was also an option. Now knight f2. If he takes, queen at h2. If he moves his king, then queen at h3 is mate. Okay, on 86 points, comfortably in the lead. Last hour of the tournament has started, and putting up some good games the last few games, so level is improving. 143 players have joined so far. Probably not all of them are still playing, but it's always good to see people play Crazyhouse. Okay, I'm always advocating to go knight g5 here, because you try to get in on f7 early. Maybe queen h5, bishop d3. Let's go pawn h6 now. And this is hard to deal with as black. Pawn g7 may come, bishop at f6. It's all and it might be defendable, surely, but it's just unpleasant. Whoa, that's a bit of a slip. I meant it to go to f6, but g5 is fine as well, I guess. Maybe better even. If he puts a pawn on f6 to block. The idea is that if he takes with the knight, and it can take his queen. And if he blocks, then maybe bishop g7. Okay, let's put a pawn on g7. Let's go queen here, make him use a blocker, and then go queen f3. So I want to go queen takes d5, knight at g5, mate. Okay. And therefore I went queen h5 first, because now queen at or knight at g5 is mate in 1. And otherwise pawn at h5 was necessary, and then we could maybe take h6, and well, not just mate yet. And it was not just about taking the queen there, but also about taking the knight, but the queen's position was also improved. So if you defended against the threat, then I just had developed my queen. Okay. And a Kendrick's lover again. And let's pin the knight, because knight e5 is a bit annoying. He can now go queen e3, forking my king and queen, but then I can block with my own queen. And now he can't take the knight because there's a pin again. And now I've developed my bishop sort of for free. So 3 pieces developed for me and none for him, and now he allows checkmate. Okay, very quick game. 96 points so far, comfortably in the lead still. Still haven't played Cat Poacher, so he may we may avoid each other. It seems like that. But okay, with these long time controls, it's of course very possible that you're in game when the other one is not. Okay, winner Oleg. Let's see what system he plays. Knight e7. Let's go for a quick knight g5 and maybe h4, h5. Okay, h4. If bishop g4, I'll go bishop e2 and allow the trades. And the point is that if he goes knight f8, then f8 is blocked. and that can't be good. So now I probably win the piece back here. And if he takes with the knight first, then I'll have knight at g5 in the end. Okay, he doesn't go for it. Well, that's risky, to say the least. h6, I think, to force some sort of pawn trade. Now pawn at f7 again is threatened, so he still has to take. If he takes with the knight first, I'll have knight at g7 after taking again. If you take with the bishop first, then I think I should go pawn at g7, harassing this one as well as the rook. And maybe he'll try bishop g4, and then I'll probably sacrifice the queen. Knight here, bishop at h5. Okay, he doesn't go for that. And an important point here is that now the bishop is caught. Let's see. Yeah, okay. If bishop takes h6, I can take that back if I want to. Should be fine for me. I can also go bishop at f7 first, or wait for a pawn on f7. Lots of options available. Let's just go like this. And go bishop at f7 next, and then see what he wants to do. He'll probably try bishop at g5 or bishop at f4, and that's reasonable. Then I think I have to go bishop b5. Okay, he wants to get rid of this threat here. Now I'll develop with tempo. If he blocks, I'll play at f5, most likely, or bishop at b3, just putting more pressure on e6. And now let's see how he covers, and maybe knight at h5 next, trying to remove this defender from the h7 square as well as activating the queen. Could also try bishop at h5, maybe. But the problem with bishop at h5 is that he maybe just plays king g7. Okay, he allows this. And the good thing for me is that I can put a knight on f5 now if he plays king g7, covering the rook as well as checking. Alright. He's found a way out, I think. Let's play queen f3. Forking the rook and the knight, and of course rook g1 is fine. It's resolving the issue for the moment. Okay, he goes for this one. Also logical, I think. If I take, there's bishop at f4. If king e2, knight at d4. So I think I have to go king f1. Yeah, king f1 seems fine. Knight at h2 I just take. And then if he takes back, pawn at g7 is made in a few moves. So now the fork is real. And rook g6 doesn't work because I take and go e7 check. If rook forks explaining that rook g6, rook takes g6, h takes g6, e7. If queen takes e7, then rook at g8 is mate because the knight is pinned. And if king takes e7, then rook at f7 and knight at g7. Okay, this should be good enough, I think. Pawn at f7. Pawn at g7, I mean. And knight at f5. I don't have many diagonal pieces left, but if the king moves to the g8 square, then I can play e7. And if to h8, then bishop at g7 and rook at h8 is made. f8, same stuff, bishop at g7. So if g8, then pawn e7. Alright, and mate next move. Nice game by winner Oleg as well. Was fun to play this one. A lot of opportunities. Commenting that he doesn't like to play against me. Knight c3, okay, then we go d5, not allowing an early e4. Let's go e6. If e3, maybe a6, because this bishop b5 move can be very annoying. Ah, that's actually nice. He takes with the knight. Then we go knight c6, and if he takes on f6, I'll just take with the pawn. And if pawn at e5, then maybe I'll sack the queen, I don't know yet. Seems okay. If he takes on e4, I'll have some pressure on f3, like this. My king is relatively safe. Knight g5 is a possibility, but then I can go bishop at g6 or bishop g6 even, just preserving the bishop. But I actually like bishop at g6 better, because I like this bishop on e4. And now as well, c2 is something he has to worry about. Maybe just thinking about it, maybe it was more accurate to play bishop at a5 first, because he really didn't have a blocker. Okay, let's harass. Removing the defender of d4. Let's take here first, because there is no knight at f6 stuff. He could try knight f6, but then I can just take and go knight at e2 myself. I think that's too slow for him. And if he takes with the queen, I can take on d4, win more time on his pieces. Okay, he goes knight g5. What if knight at e2? I don't think he has anything there, so I'll just go knight at e2. Okay, this should not end well. Let's see. If he moves back to h1, pawn at g2 is made, so he has to move up to f3. But let's see, there should be mate here. Knight takes d4, I think is good, but not mate, not seeing the mate just yet. Let's see. Let's not spend too long. Let's go knight takes d4. He has to go king e3 or takes. Okay, if he takes, then it should be easy. Blocking off the retreat there. I'll just take the knights. And the problem for him is that he doesn't have any blockers or good pawn blockers, so I can take more pieces probably. Okay, now bishop f5 is made in 2. Bit frustrated that I didn't find an easier mate there, but well, okay. This was finishing the game as well. Okay. Yeah, probably there was something with bishop at h5. I was thinking about bishop at h5 and then knight g2 stuff, because I needed the d file open for the rook and not allowing the king to escape to c1. But I couldn't find it, so therefore just went for the material, and he misstepped anyway there. It was very hard for white, of course. So the queen sacrifice paid off there. Alright, Blitzer 88. I haven't seen this player before. Let's see if he's relatively new. Yeah, seems like a new account. Okay, bishop b4. I think I want to go for the castle line again. If take on c3, then I'll take back and go bishop g5. Seems to be a good line for white. You sacrifice the queen momentarily, but you can take back here. And for example, a variation here is knight takes d1, bishop takes d8, pawn e4, bishop b5, and then you threaten mate here. So your pieces are fine. But it's fair. It's very hard if you don't know the theory, and I just know that line, but my opponent probably hasn't seen this before or doesn't know what he needs to do here. And therefore thinking a while. But I think it should be better for white, but okay, knight takes f2, yes, that's a line. How to respond to this? I can't remember actually. Let's just take and see how it goes. Shouldn't spend too much time there figuring out the old lines. If rook f1, then probably we'll see knight at f2, and then I'll take. Should be okay, I think. Then I can start to put pieces around my king again. Could also have gone bishop at h4 maybe, saving the bishop instead of the rook. But one of the ideas as well is if you win a knight back, then maybe there's knight at f6 and knight at g7, getting some entrance on the king there, and only this knight is defending. It's doing a good job, but okay, it takes with the knight. I don't want to allow anything on f4, so I'll go bishop at g5. And now knight to h5, and I think I'm taking over the attack here. He doesn't have a knight to put on g4, which would be his attacking idea. There is no entry square on e3, d2, it's all covered very well. So this should be going my way. Knight f6 and knight takes g7 are both very strong threats. Okay, pawn at e7. I'll take this one. And go pawn at e6. I'm trying to keep my threats one move so that he doesn't get time to defend or put up an attack. And with keeping them one move, I mean that if he doesn't do, if it's white to move now, I'll win. I'll have a checkmate in a few moves. For example, I could also put a knight on b5. That seems very strong. It's attacking c7, but it's not a threat in where he has to deal with in one move, like I was saying. Bishop takes e7 and pawn takes c7. I think not taking the knight, but taking the pawn, opening up the position, because now queen at c7 is a mate threat if he moves. It's actually mate in one because this bishop is covering here and this knight is covering this retreat. So he has to take, but then I'll repeat and queen at c7 will come anyway. Yeah, I think I played this correct, but if I'm not mistaken, that line is just bad for black. If you take twice on c3, I think it's okay to take once maybe, and then I usually go knight f5, and it's a very hard system to play, and in any case with black, because you're a bit cramped, but the bishop takes c3 and then take with the knight on c3 line is just plain bad, I think. And of course you have to know what you're doing with white, otherwise black can take over. But okay, an early h6. Don't know about that, but let's try to get an attack quickly. Try to make use of this h6 move and open up some early lines. Let's castle and go knight a4, try to take a bishop for b3. And then maybe take h6 or something like that. Maybe go bishop e3. Yes, let's go bishop e3, attacking this pawn and preparing queen d2 maybe. And of course I would really like a knight here. Okay, this is fine as well. Then I'll take and put a bishop on h4, harass this knight. Let's think about a second. Can also put bishop. Yeah, let's go here. I changed my mind there because I also like to take this one actually, because then knight takes e5 becomes available. Oh, sorry about that. I think I can go knight takes e5. Let's see. Knight takes e5 takes queen. Knight at g6. Yeah, let's just trust the instinct here. Should be very good. Yeah, my opponent thinks the same about that move. Okay, let's go pawn at f3 then. If he takes, then I'll win a piece and still have a good position. You can also go bishop f7 maybe, but I'm just trying to clear up the defenders. And the problem, one of the issues now is that this bishop is has dislodged the connection between the queen and the rook, and then the pieces aren't working together anymore. So, for example, even if bishop takes g4, I can take with the queen maybe. Knight takes, and then knight at g6 is even more forcing than before. So Glenn Karat's now thinking about that. What he wants to do. Okay, comes up with knight at f7. I think that allows knight at g6. Let's go knight at g6. And then I can take the rook probably. Also e5. e5, e6 is a bit slow, but it's just looking so strong. Bishop at e7 maybe. Okay, bishop at e7, that seems the best. Winning more material. Okay, he sacrificed the queen. Maybe he feels like he's safe on h8 or h7. Okay, but he probably missed that he's not safe on g8 now because the knight is pinned. So this is actually checkmate. He defended pretty well there. The early sacrifice is probably objectively not good. I'm saying that already a few times now, but with the clock ticking away and you have to trying to defend, it's more likely that you will make a mistake, and then the sacrifice pays off. Okay, the cat poacher. Let's see, still number 2 in the tournament. Going for knight c3, bishop c4. Let's go bishop e7, see if he wants to go d4 or d3. d3 is a bit slower, d4 is more aggressive. Let's go like this. And let's go knight at e6. I've tried some time this line. It's a bit offbeat, this opening, knight at e6. And I got crushed in it, but I also got some good results with it, so. why not give it a try again? King takes, bishop takes. Let's go king takes. King takes makes f7 a bit weak. Yeah, expecting knight here, and probably we'll see another knight on g5. But I'll just cover that. Let's cover with bishop at e8. Can also go bishop at h5. Point is that he will play knight at g5 anyway. But okay. Maybe he'll play knight at f4 now. And then I'll, if he does, then I'll have the option of harassing this knight first, and then maybe move the bishop back. But this square is weak, of course, and he doesn't have any real weaknesses yet in his position. Okay, he goes for this line. Bishop d6 could be an option, so that I have king e7 at my disposal. Yeah, let's try that. Bishop d6. I like this bishop here guarding e5 as well as c5 as well as c7. It's just a very good anchor point. If knight takes e5, I'll take like this, and then maybe we'll see this position where we both have developed one piece and have a lot of stuff in hand. Okay, he goes queen at d3, so now taking the knight is not possible because of the pin. King e7, what does he do then? King e7, knight at d5 maybe. Queen a5 is also possible. Queen a5, knight c4 probably. Okay, queen a5, let's not go queen a5. Okay, let's just go king e7. Whoa. I don't think he can go knight d5 and win with it. The bishop on e5 is a nice defender, as well as some queen at a5 or bishop at a5 possible move to defend even more on the dark squares. But he'll be thinking about knight takes h5, bishop takes e5. It's probably not wise to take a knight takes a5 and then take back. But, well, maybe then again, it's possible. Let's see. He doesn't have a knight to put here. Bishop takes e5. He's going for it, so maybe it's strong. Okay, let's just go for it. Let's see how he plays it. He just takes g7. Okay. Knight f5, pawn at g5 is an annoying move. Okay, let's counter attack. Try to get in on g2 and get some play there. Knight to d5 still very possible. I'm saying knight to d5 at some stage. A knight here and then take back. Maybe bishop at g5 take. But he has to calculate a lot of stuff. So I'm trying to use that to my advantage. Okay, I made him move rook g1. So that's a small victory. Queen at g6 maybe. Rook d8. Rook d8, then he can play bishop at c5. This is tough. Bishop takes h2 is too slow maybe. Let's just go rook d8 and pawn at d6. Okay, he blocks on d5. And he's playing a bit quicker. Okay, now I went for queen at g6 anyway. The rook is now on the d file. That's will probably come in handy on the defense of d6, d5. And now the queen on g6. Probably he'll block here. Okay, here goes bishop at b4. Blocking was the only option there. If king d7, I would have been mated with pawn takes e6. Double check and queen b5. So I had to block. Okay, now I think I can safely take this. An even take here. He doesn't have any diagonal pieces left. Take the rook. Threatening to take on f2. Let's take anyway. Go rook g1 and apply pressure. That's a bad miss by me. But okay, I'll try to get out of it. Now I can take the queen with check maybe, and then at least I have bishop at g5. Let's just take back. Okay, he resigns. Fun game and well played by Cat Poacher. In the end there he lost it because he got low on time, but he played very well. Okay, 20 more minutes to go. Happy to beat the Cat Poacher there. And on a good streak so far. Probably 3 or 4 more games. Let's go for an early knight e4. Yes, this stuff again. I guess take and bishop f5 maybe. Let's just go knight at d4. Try something aggressive. Don't know if this is good for black, but I already went for it, so keep up the aggression. Queen a4 I'll block with bishop d7 and then knight c2. He may have some crazy idea of I was going to say e6, queen a4, bishop d7, e6, but knight d6 is also a good find. But alright, I'll trade queens. Ah, I'm missing something here. He could have tried knight at f6, knight at g7, but d7 was still safe. So maybe in combination bishop d5 there. Okay, let's put a queen here. I'll take that. Bishop g4 comes to mind. Threatens mate. As well as covers the mating threat of white. Yeah, let's go bishop g4. He might try pawn at d7, make me take with the king. Then my king is a bit exposed. Okay, let's block on c6. There's maybe some weird sequence here for him. Bishop takes c6, take, and then pawn d7. And if I take with the king, there is maybe e6, and knight at c5, and knight at e5. But alright, he decides to defend, which is of course also a good option. Okay, queen at b4, forcing knight at c3. At least I think that's forcing knight at c3. He could also go for queen at c3, but then the bishop is lost. Castles. Let's go pawn at d2. Gotta move a bit quicker here. It's a very interesting game, so lots of resources. You probably can get away with taking here, or go knight d5. And then I have to take on e5, I think. Because there is this knight at f6 threat that's strong, to say the least. But he may be thinking about defending instead of counterattacking. Could also try to calculate bishop takes d6 here. Bishop takes d6, I think I have to take back. Did I move my queen already? Or my king? I forgot. No, okay, I have the possibility of castling. Oh, you need one more player to play on fix. Some bug house maybe. I've no mouse, so that won't be happening. But maybe next Sunday I can play some bug house. We should try to schedule that with some people. Okay, he's letting his clock run a bit low here. He should just go queen at b7. But now he's giving me hope. Okay, goes the rook. Bishop e7. Yeah, bishop e7. Gotta move quicker. Very scary. But should be okay. Let's pre-move knight at h3. Ah, yes. one touchpad flagging battle. Okay, that's nice. Didn't expect to win that one on time. I was lower and on touchpad. It's just hard if you're not used to it. Look, this is nice to see. This is the real Grandmaster Vallejo Pons playing Crazyhouse. On a regular basis even. I've seen him around in these tournaments. Okay, let's go for bishop c5 and d6. Oh, I want to go knight d6 and knight d4, but I slipped knight e7. But we'll work with it. c6 seems reasonable. Not allowing any knight at d5. And let's just leave the king in the middle here and go h5 and h4. And this is almost looking like a regular chess game. I wanted to keep this point on c6 because I don't like knight b5 or d5. Okay, now I'll go knight f4. That does allow taking on h4, but then I get the open h file in return, so I'm not unhappy with this. As well as some attacking possibilities. Let's go pawn at h3. Okay, goes at g6. I can take g2 and I'll just take back here. Bishop h5, I think I can take that. I think I have to move to g6, or g8 I mean. If to f8 then bishop takes f4 was very strong. Okay, now I'll take here and take on g5. Because now also this knight can take on e6 if necessary. Because he only needs a knight on g6 to checkmate me. So let's not step into knight takes h5 there. Then he would have sacrificed the queen. Watch out for knight g6. Okay. Put myself in a bit of a difficult spot here. Yes, I know, time. G6, I think. And let's just hope I'll survive. One of the ideas is that I have, if he goes pawn on g7, I have knight at f3, at least. Checkmating. Okay, that's good. Or checkmating. I think if it was not so good as I thought if he just had gone bishop takes. But he missed that. Okay. Not the best game of this streak, but he missed bishop takes f3, defended there, and I underestimated knight h4. But in the end, happy to take. It's 7 more minutes, so 1 or 2 more games. Quickly check if something is coming up. Okay, no. I was just checking if any 1-0 Crazyhouse matches were being scheduled already for the World Championship candidates phase. But none have been posted on the calendar just yet. Alright, Capram going for an early h5. Let's try to use that by going for the g6 square. Maybe like this. Maybe bishop e3 first though, to cover d4. Okay, knight takes d4 and knight takes e5. Probably. Or queen h4 maybe. Queen h4 wasn't that good, I think, because then just knight f3 back. Okay, now I'll try to get in on c7. He now has to block, because defending c7 is a bit hard. And I'll second knight and go knight b5. Threatening to take, and if he moves the queen, then knight at c7 wins material. So basically I'm winning the queen here, or the rook. So I sacrifice the knight, but it will come back with interest. And then we use this h5 move by going for f7. Because now I have a queen in hand, so there are lots of mating ideas with knight at g5 and queen at f7. let's see. I didn't see the killer blow there, so deciding to go slow here. And if you're wondering what's that noise in the background, it's going to storm in the Netherlands. We had some very hot days, and usually in the Netherlands when we have a few hot days, then we get a thunderstorm afterwards. Okay, this should be made. Blocking on c6, knight at c5, pawn d7. Right. Okay, probably one more game, and then the tournament is over. Alright, these are the last opponents of today. And well, I was just checking the schedule, but I don't know when any match of the candidates will occur, but surely I'll try to be present if a new one is scheduled for commentary. And well, probably this weekend I won't be streaming much, but after the weekend I'll try to stream some of the normal arenas again, because I will be going away this weekend, so I won't be able to stream. This is tricky. I think I'll just take the pawn, actually, because now if queen takes d4, I have bishop takes c6, and if knight takes d4, I can just take the queen. So it's actually looking fine-ish. Queen c8 maybe what he's thinking, but then I'll probably take on c6 and pawn at b7. So it's hard to find a good square for the queen here, because knight takes b7 if queen d6 or queen d8. So he probably has to find a way of sacrificing the queen in the best possible way. And he's taking a lot of time, so that's nice for me. Okay, he's gone for this way. Maybe he'll try knight takes c2 or bishop takes c2. Bishop takes c2, just queen takes d4, so knight takes c2 is what he should be thinking about. Knight takes c2, I have the option of taking, but I think king f1 is fine. And then maybe bishop, take the bishop here, or knight e5. And also queen at a4 is an option at some moment. Okay, he decides to take a defender, so I have to take back. This should not work because I can take and put a knight on e5 and probably checkmate. Okay, this is useful. He's making me use a blocker, so maybe he's trying to figure out a way to make this possible, but I still think it's not winning. If it's not enough. Bishop knight at e5 is just so strong. Queen at d7 and bishop at d4 is just winning. Alright guys, that was it. The weekly Crazyhouse, and won a bit of points back, so getting back to regular level. Good, had a good tournament and had some fun games. I hope you enjoyed watching. Thank you very much for staying and for watching the stream, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.